Good morning. Today we're diving into a topic that's making headlines and impacting millions of Americans: the government shutdown. Today, October 24th, 2025, the U.S. government has been partially shut down for 26 days. That means for nearly a month, many essential services and operations have come to a halt, and the effects are rippling across the country. Let's break down what that means and why it matters to all of us, not just politicians in Washington. Imagine Congress as the people in charge of a giant household's budget. Just like a family needs to agree on how to spend money for groceries, rent, and bills, Congress must agree on how to fund the government's many responsibilities. When they can't agree on spending, many parts of the household, our government, have to stop. Offices close, projects pause, and uncertainty spreads. Federal agencies and services close until Congress and the President approve a new spending plan. That's a government shutdown. It's like putting the country's daily operations on hold until a solution is found. This isn't just a political fight in Washington. The consequences reach far beyond the Capitol and affect communities everywhere. It affects real people. National parks close, passport applications stall, and scientific research halts. Families planning vacations, students waiting for research grants, and travelers needing passports all feel the impact. Most importantly, hundreds of thousands of federal employees, those who inspect our food, manage air traffic, and protect our borders, face sudden uncertainty. Many are left wondering how they'll pay their bills or support their families. Some critical functions continue, but many employees must work without knowing when they'll be paid. Others are furloughed, sent home without pay, unsure when they'll return to work. The core issue is a deep political divide over how to fund the government. Lawmakers disagree on priorities, spending levels, and policies, leading to a standoff that halts progress. Lawmakers are now locked in a debate over whether and how to pay these public servants during the shutdown. The longer the shutdown lasts, the more difficult it becomes for everyone involved. This isn't just about numbers, it's about the people caught in the middle. Families across the nation are left in limbo, waiting for leaders to find common ground. Understanding this standoff is key to grasping the true cost of a government shutdown. It's not just a political event. It's a real-life crisis that touches millions of lives, reminding us how important it is for our leaders to work together for the good of the country. When the government shuts down, federal workers are thrust into uncertainty, split into two groups, neither of which has it easy. The impact ripples far beyond the walls of government buildings, touching the lives of families and communities across the country. First, there are the furloughed employees. Their jobs are labeled non-essential, so they're told to stop working and sent home, without pay. For many, this sudden halt is jarring, leaving them in a state of limbo, unsure when or if they'll be called back. Overnight, their income disappears, but the bills keep coming. Mortgage payments, utilities, and medical expenses don't pause just because the government does. Many families are forced to make tough choices, cutting back on groceries, postponing childcare, or dipping into emergency savings. The anxiety is constant as they scramble to cover rent, food, and basic needs. The second group is made up of essential employees. These are the people whose work is considered critical to public safety and national security. Air traffic controllers, TSA agents, federal law enforcement, and active duty military must keep working, often in high-stress environments, without pay. They're expected to show up day after day, even as their own families face financial strain. These essential workers are performing vital, demanding jobs for free, hoping that Congress will eventually approve back pay. But hope doesn't pay the bills, and the uncertainty takes a toll. Over 1 million federal workers are about to miss their first full paycheck, with no clear end in sight. For many, this is the first time they've faced such a crisis. For families living paycheck to paycheck, the loss of income is devastating. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a full-blown emergency. Many are forced to dip into savings, rack up credit card debt, or turn to food banks for the first time. The financial strain is immediate and severe. The emotional toll is immense. Many federal workers feel like pawns in a political game, powerless and frustrated as morale plummets across agencies. Skilled professionals who have dedicated their careers to public service are now questioning their future. The uncertainty is pushing some to reconsider their commitment to government work. There's a real risk of a brain drain as talented employees weigh leaving for the private sector, where stability and paychecks are more reliable. The human cost of this shutdown isn't just temporary. It could have lasting consequences for our government's ability to function, As experienced workers leave and institutional knowledge is lost. The longer this drags on, the more damage is done, not just to paychecks, but to the very fabric of our public institutions and the people who keep them running. Yesterday, October 23rd, the crisis for federal workers reached a critical point as the issue landed squarely in the Senate. The atmosphere in Washington was tense, with thousands of government employees anxiously awaiting news that could determine when, or if, they would be paid. The Republican-led Shutdown Fairness Act was introduced as an urgent measure. Its goal, to pay accepted federal employees, military personnel, and some government contractors immediately, even as the broader shutdown dragged on. Supporters argued it was a lifeline for those still working without pay. But the bill faced a steep hurdle. It needed 60 votes to move forward, a threshold designed to ensure bipartisan support. In the end, the measure fell short. 54 senators voted in favor, while 45 opposed it, leaving the bill stalled. This failure exposed the deep partisan divide fueling the shutdown and blocking relief for federal workers. The Senate floor was filled with frustration and disappointment as lawmakers traded blame. Notably, 3 Democrats broke ranks to support the bill, signaling the urgency they felt for their state's workers and the growing pressure from constituents back home. Senate Majority Leader Jon Ossoff, a Republican, switched his vote to no, a procedural move that allows the Senate to reconsider the bill at a later date. This maneuver kept hope alive for another attempt, but offered no immediate relief. For essential workers, the failed vote was a major disappointment. Many have been working long hours without pay, and the uncertainty about when they'll receive their next paycheck continues to weigh heavily on them and their families. The outcome only intensified political finger-pointing, with each side blaming the other for prolonging the shutdown. The atmosphere in Congress grew even more contentious as leaders sparred in public and behind closed doors. Republicans insisted that Democrats were blocking pay for employees who were still on the job, while Democrats countered that the bill was a flawed, partisan tactic that failed to address the root causes of the shutdown. As the Senate drama played out, federal workers and the nation were left waiting, with no end to the shutdown in sight. The gridlock continues, leaving families and communities across the country in limbo, hoping for a breakthrough that remains elusive. Let's look closer at the Shutdown Fairness Act, sponsored by Senator Ron Johnson. The bill's goal, pay federal employees still working during the shutdown, plus military and some contractors. Republicans argued it's only fair to pay people for work they're doing now. Democrats saw it differently. They argued the bill would create a two-tiered system, paying some workers, leaving furloughed employees behind. They worried it would let the president selectively fund agencies, politicizing the federal payroll. Democrats feared this would divide the workforce and prolong the shutdown. Most Democrats voted no, citing concerns about fairness and executive overreach. The bill's defeat left the issue unresolved. Democrats responded with broader proposals. Senator Chris Van Hollen's True Shutdown Fairness Act would pay both accepted and furloughed employees, plus military and contractors. Senator Gary Peters's bill also covered all federal workers, with retroactive pay to the start of the shutdown. Both aimed to help everyone affected, not just a select group. Republicans blocked these proposals, arguing they distracted from the immediate need to pay those still working. The failure of both sides' bills shows the deep divide: targeted relief versus comprehensive solutions. The standoff continues. The shutdown's impact is everywhere. Air traffic controllers, 13,000 strong, are working without pay, raising fears of flight delays and cancellations as Thanksgiving nears. States warn that SNAP, or food stamp, funding is running out, threatening food aid for 42 million low-income Americans. The shutdown is hurting the economy. Over 1 million workers and contractors are spending less, hurting local businesses. Restarting government operations is costly and inefficient, adding to the national debt. The shutdown erodes public trust, closed parks, travel chaos, and families losing food aid fuel frustration. This is now the longest shutdown in U.S. history. Extraordinary moments, like Senator Jeff Merkley's 22-hour protest speech, show the pressure is mounting. The consequences are too severe to ignore. The longer the shutdown lasts, the more damage it does to families, the economy, and faith in government. Americans are demanding action. With no solution, both parties are locked in a blame game. Republicans say they tried to pay essential workers, but Democrats blocked it for political reasons. Their message: Democrats are putting politics over paychecks. Democrats countered that the shutdown itself is the real problem, caused by Republican refusal to compromise. They call the Republican bill a stunt to make the shutdown more bearable, not to end it. Democrats insist only a full reopening and pay for all workers is fair. Both sides are fighting for public support, but federal workers remain caught in the middle. Despite the gridlock, there are glimmers of hope. Senator Ron Johnson signaled openness to compromise, possibly including furloughed workers in a new bill. If both parties agree to pay all federal employees, it could break the deadlock. Pressure is mounting, missed paychecks, and the looming Thanksgiving holiday add urgency. Some senators are crossing party lines, showing a desire to help workers over politics. Staffers are negotiating behind the scenes, hoping to draft a bipartisan solution. It's a fragile hope, but for millions affected, it's something to cling to. The next few days will be critical. The path forward remains uncertain. The shutdown is the longest in history, with over 1 million public servants in turmoil. The core conflict targeted pay for some versus a comprehensive solution for all. The consequences are real: airport chaos, threatened food aid, families draining savings. There's hope in talk of compromise, but only a full budget deal will truly end the crisis. Paying workers is vital, but it's not enough. Our leaders must come together to fund the government and restore stability. Millions are waiting for Washington to act.